Welcome to another biblically based look into today's news from Christian Voice New Zealand. Now here's Mike Bain.
Hi, I'm Mike Bain from Christian Voice New Zealand. Please excuse my appearance, but I'm just fresh out of a 2-month stint in hospital following a near-fatal accident. But first things first, a big thank you to all who prayed for my recovery. God heard your prayers, along with the amazing medical team. I'm alive and on the road to recovery. Moving along to today's subject, I'm starting with a question. What price would you put on hearing the gospel? I raised this question after hearing a caller to News Talk ZB berating Destiny Church leader Brian Tamaki. Now, I knew Tamaki was well healed, and I thought the caller was being a bit unfair, but when I looked into the claim, I was surprised. I found 3 pastors leading churches in New Zealand who have wealthy lifestyles, but it's important to understand that it's not a sin to be wealthy. The ancient patriarchs, Job, Abraham and King Solomon, they were all very wealthy. In fact, in Job 42, Genesis 12 and 1 Kings 3, we can read about where God made them wealthy. God's action simply proves that being wealthy isn't wrong, or God wouldn't have done that. In addition to the examples in the Old Testament, God tells wealthy Christians in 1 Timothy 6 to share their wealth, not to be arrogant, nor to put their hope in wealth, which is so uncertain, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. And he also commanded them to do good, to be rich in good deeds, and to be generous and willing to share. Now, God never rebukes wealthy Christians for being wealthy. He simply warns them to be generous. However, God does rebuke them as well as others for not loving him and for sinning. Even when Jesus walked on this earth, he told several people to give their money away. One of them is recorded in Matthew 19, which features the rich young ruler. Money was their God. They loved their money more than they loved God. So we shouldn't be surprised that Jesus challenged them to give away their money. But by saying that, Jesus helped them discover what was tremendously important to them. Sad to say, it wasn't God. Now, let's ask the question, should pastors today be wealthy? The passage in Matthew 6 applies to everyone, which includes a member of the clergy. No one can serve 2 masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he'll be devoted to the one and despise the other. In other words, you can't serve God and wealth. The key to understanding this verse is the word serve. There are some poor people who are controlled by money just as much as some rich people. Also, there are people who give their money to others without regard of how much they own. Having money is not the issue. The issue is your heart attitude towards the money that God has given you. In 1 Timothy 6:10, notice that the ownership of money is not the root of evil, but the love of money is a root of all sorts of evil, and some, by longing for it, have wandered away from their faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. Now, all 3 pastors I alluded to earlier, Destiny's Brian Tamaki, City Impact's Peter Mortlock, and Life Church Paul de Jong, they pastor mega churches in New Zealand. Now, the 3 churches have many things in common. Flashy Harley-Davidson riding pastors, music-driven services, their own television equipment, a strict morality, and above all, a focus on money. Followers are told that they're essentially robbing God if they fail to give. But putting the matter into perspective, I don't care if both Tamaki and Mortlock ride a Harley-Davidson if they truly share the gospel. But at what cost to the congregation do they share that gospel? You might be surprised, as I was, that the self-proclaimed apostle is paid, according to a search on Google, Tamaki is paid an average of $3,000 each time he preaches at a Destiny church outside of Auckland. Now, this helps boost his income to more than $1 million a year. I'll leave you to make up your own mind as to whether this amount is excessive or not. Brian Tamaki, like Peter Mortlock and Paul de Jong, may have had some wealth before entering the ministry, and it may have been that wealth they used to plant what is now a successful megachurch. Tithing 10% of your income is one thing, and the hope that the money is used wisely is another. But for a pastor expecting $3,000 for preaching the message, are we even on the same planet? Hey, just leave your thoughts in the comment section.
Feel free free to leave your comments, share and subscribe to our YouTube channel. For more information about our work and how you can support it is available on our website, christianvoicenewzealand.com.